Hello, everyone, and welcome to another GHAA demo. And this month's demo artist is Nella Lush, and she has been a longtime member of the GHAA, which is the Greater Haverhill Arts Association. And even if you're just an art fan or art appreciator, we always welcome new people, whether you be sponsors, other artists. We have a lot going on, all kinds of cool stuff. So we are at haverhillassociation.org. Okay, and on our website, you can sign up for monthly newsletters. You can sign up to be a very cool sponsor. We totally appreciate you, and all kinds of good stuff. Okay, so without further ado, let me tell you about Miss Nella Lush. All right, she's an artist that works with intuition and experience, but she never kind of follows a formula. She brings together the alchemy of materials, classical forms, appearance of centuries of aging in all of her paintings. And she has a marvelous array, whether it's an abstract, a fresco, a floral, figurative, or even mixed media on paper. Okay, she does it all, God love her. So, and I have been lucky enough to actually meet her, and she's an awesome artist. She works in series and mainly with oils, uses cold wax as a medium often, and adding marble dust and pumice to create more texture and depth. She's very active in the art communities and avid volunteer of many organizations. She served for 2 terms as president of the Massachusetts chapter of the National Association of Women's Artists in New York City. Okay, she's a board member of the Rockport Art Association and Museum and the founder of the experimental group of RAA. And we'll have to get her to tell us a little bit more about that. That RAA is Rockport Art Association. The mission of the group is to foster, promote, encourage self-expression by giving the opportunity to artists to come together and to explore and share ideas. She's now collaborating with a UK artist, and the UK artist's name is Celia Hemke, in the production of podcasts focusing on the art process. So this is one very talented, very interesting young lady. Her latest interview with Christine Fisher of Cape Ann Artwaves will also tell you more about Nella. Okay, so she does a lot of very cool things. So without further ado, we're going to bring Nella on. Okay, go. All right, and here is Nella Lush right now. And Nella, tell us what you're going to do for us today, darling.
Yes. So what am I going to do? I wish I could say I'm making some sauce and meatballs, but
I'll be right over.
And what I would be doing is I would be playing. I would be playing with all the materials that I like to use.
Nice.
And I like to introduce you to those materials. So let me just fix. If you can see,
I can see
my workstation. Let me see. Well, first of all, let me show you a little bit. This is a lot of the materials around my studio that I use.
Nice.
We'll go one by one anyway, but my studio is quite large. I have several paintings that I work at the same time, different sizes. This is the one on diesel now, that's a 60 by 36.
Wow.
And then behind me right there, that's a commission piece. 80 inches long, high,
Wow.
by 48. That's a commission that is going to Florida. Then in the side here, I have more that I'm working on. So, and then the room goes beyond there, and there are more paintings everywhere you look at.
You have a huge studio.
Yes, it's never too big, as you know. We just, when I go to an art supply store, it's like a candy store for me.
I'm the same way.
Oh my goodness.
I want some of everything.
So, and it's not only art supply stores, it's also going to Home Depot or to Lowe's, and you see the different brushes, like, this is for the walls. Yeah. So I use anything that that really hits me in for mark making. So what is art, right? Art is making something, is
Yes.
creating. And when I say that everyone is an artist, I really mean that. We are born as artists, but then we forget that we were artists when we were born because we had to learn little by little on our own with a little bit of guidance. We learned. So we learned by experiencing it. And so this is what art is for me. It's continuously experimenting, continuously trying to find new ways. And sometimes people say, well, where did you learn this from? It's me doing it. And if that can help somebody else, it's great. But the best way is for you to just go and do it. And do it and, try anything. Go around the house and you see whatever. Use these little things. I use these big pieces of chalk. Um, I don't know if you can, I'm going to show you something else. This is from the dishwasher. So I use everything.
You do.
From the kitchen. So any little thing that hits my, my creative spirit, I will just put it in the studio.
I love it. I love it.
So do you think that I need a bigger studio? Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Your whole house is your studio.
Actually, it is. Yeah, we just recently we were interviewed by the Eagle Tribune. So the reporter that came said, I've gone to other artists' places, but never did I see the whole house. And I said, isn't that true? Once the kids were gone, every room became an art studio. We have paintings everywhere. That's okay. That's the way
it's absolutely okay. I love it.
But anyway, so why don't we just questions? I know that others are not going to be able to ask me questions, but maybe just by watching me, they can email me. So
yes, absolutely. And
nowadays it's so easy. It's easy to stay in touch. And I love connecting with people anyway. I might not be able to answer right away, but eventually I will. So what I'm doing is, what do? I play. This is what I do. I just play until I create something. And this is a panel. I buy this at the art supply store. I prepared it with gesso, but the people that know me would also know that my brand, the way I like to talk about myself, is texture. I love textures. And that has to do, coming from the old country, I'm Italian. And when you go there, what do you see? You see old stuff, beautiful architectural and architecture, art, and it's just everything moves me. The peeling paint on the walls and the old doors and the portico, everything. So it's part of who I am. And this is what art is. Art is an extension of who we are. Art should really be a reflection of our personality. Some people say, well, I like Nella's work, I want to copy it. You definitely can try that, but at the end, you will always go towards what you like. And if what I do doesn't hit you, your soul, then you're not going to feel right. So art is you identifying what works for you, identifying your purpose, what your mission is, and that's how we grow.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that you agree with me.
I do agree with you.
Awesome. So one we can't forget is, use gloves. Rubber gloves are very inexpensive, and it will protect you from all these agents that might not be good for us. And since I use a lot of materials, I like to protect myself a little bit.
Good.
So I'm gonna do several things just to give you a feeling of how easy it is to play if you're not afraid. So this is just gesso, but also what I do is I can use gesso in, I'm gonna put some, in pumice. So pumice, I buy it at the art supply store, and it's like that. And now I'm gonna put a little bit of gesso with that, and I make a little paste.
So
This is just to give you,
a
yes,
texture,
and this is, yeah, this is for texture.
Okay.
So, and I mix it.
Now, does the pumice have a color to it?
It's gray,
Yeah.
but when you add the, when you add the gesso, it, it changes the color a little bit. And then you can also add acrylic to it. I usually do in large amounts, but, like I told you, I wish I was making some meatballs and sauce. Well, I am in my own way. You didn't know it was going to be funny, right?
I did. You know what? I've met you before. I know you have a good sense of humor, which is great.
So just to show you, this is some acrylics that I have. They are the Flow,
So what's your
that I sometimes,
what's your preferred brand? Do you have a brand that you recommend people use?
Golden in Liquitex. Those.
Good.
That's for the acrylic. I like the golden, golden Flow, which is liquid, which it's easier for me for what I'm trying to do, which I will show it to you guys. So let's say this is my gesso, and with the pumice. So tell me if you can see well.
I can see you.
Is this okay, or should it?
Yes.
Okay.
No, looks great.
So this is gesso and pumice. So I do that, and then I will go with a big palette knife, and I will go like that. Now this will dry fast too. The same as any kind of gesso. So, but now let's say I want to add a little bit of color to it, which you can actually put it right into your gesso. And I do that most of the times, but.
So what color is this? This looks black.
This is, it is shading gray, it's called.
Okay.
So it's a gray, black. So one thing that happens with the pumice and the gesso, it creates a nice tooth on the canvas, on the panel.
This is a wooden panel, yes?
This is a wooden panel, yeah. But I work on canvas as well. So let's say I've done that, and now I want to add. I'm just doing this mostly for sake of showing all the different products. Golden, and this is pumice. It's what I just created, but already mixed.
Oh, okay, they sell it that way. Yeah?
It's pumice. So they sell it that way if you don't want to do what I do. So I take this, and this is the way it looks. And now I'll go like that. Now this dries in such a beautiful, it's just, very textural. It just it just will direct me. It will direct me which way to go.
But that's what I was going to ask you. Do you have in your mind something, or you're just letting this grow into whatever it's going to be?
Yeah, playing is always improvising. And you know how we want our children not necessarily to play with the toys, but to improvise? This
Yeah.
is what I'm doing. So it's like, I really don't know where I'm going to go, but I know that if I trust my process, things will happen.
Yes.
Maybe not right there and then, but it will happen. And this is what I do. And this is the reason also I work on several canvases at the same time.
Me too, actually.
Yeah. And I think it probably has to do a lot with our personality as well. I mean, I don't read one book at a time. I have to read, 4 or 5 books at a time. I don't watch just TV. I have to do something else at the same time.
I love it. I love it. I used to be able to do that. As I'm getting older, I'm finding I have to focus a little bit more.
Well, there is truth in that too. But it's okay. We'll take whatever comes to us.
That comes to us. That's right.
So this is a panel that I just prepared with that. So what else can I do with this? Well, I can't do anything right now because it has to dry. So
And how long to dry? How long will it take to dry?
Well, it's the same as gesso. It will take a
Yeah.
couple of hours before you can work on it.
Now, you're working on a 3D piano like that. Will you, after it's done, will you frame it? Do you hang it the way it is? Is that, does it sometimes one than the other?
It's definitely because of the size, then I will probably frame it.
Okay.
But if you put it in a composition like with several of them at this, put together, then unframed will be the best.
Yes. Okay.
So all depends what in framing is such a personal thing too, so
yeah, it is.
just pick and it will be fine. So now I'm going to work on another one, but in a different way. I prepared this for you guys for today. So
how did you prepare?
Just the panel, and this is just gesso, Liquitex.
Okay.
It's 3 coats of gesso, and after each coat, I just sand it lightly. And then
how do you get all the
use
little
Liquitex. Excuse me?
I was going to say you sand it. Don't you have a lot of little loose particles on there? How do you get them all off?
Well, then you just clean it out with, it's another thing.
Them.
I have a little, I have a box of old t-shirts, old anything, and I just cut them up and I just go over it and I clean it up with a little bit of water, because at that point it's gesso, so I can use water to get the particles out. But otherwise I'll show you. I have tried to get organized, but now I forget where I put everything. But it's a little block.
I love it.
A little block of sandpaper, and you do it lightly, and it's good to wear a mask when you do that. So this is the other thing now. This is the white board, and now I'm going to use art graph. Art graph is a cake of pigment with wax, and it's water soluble. Okay,
wait a minute.
It can give you a lot of.
It's wax. It's water soluble.
Yeah.
Really?
Let me see. So right here, can you see this?
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
There is wax in it. So
yes.
It's water soluble.
Huh.
And so you can do a lot of neat things with it. So I'm just going to show you. Let me get what did I do? See, when I get organized and I don't remember where I put stuff.
That's it. You're too organized. We used to just, whatever we need, we go get it.
I have a bottle. Oh, here it is.
When I try to organize ahead, I end up with the same thing. It's like, okay, what did I do?
I just wanted to get the water. I put it on the other table. So I'm going to use black. That's the first mark that I'm making. Hey, it actually looks like a little sailboat.
I was just going to say, it looks like a sailboat or a butterfly.
Yeah, I like butterfly.
Yeah, it's like
So I'm going
looking
to.
at the clouds. You see different shapes in them.
So I just spray some water on it.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost like using an acrylic,
Huh.
and you just let it. It's kind of neat what happens, you know. So you can play around with that. But now let's say I'm using, this is raw umber. And now I did that to see what happens. This is why I call it playing.
Yes.
I'm not a conventional artist. Not that I wasn't before, I had to learn all the rules, and then I had to forget those rules in order to get that freedom that I wanted in my work. I so this is what I did.
So what is in your hand? What are you using there? What is that?
Okay, this is really nice tools. You can get it at the art supply store. They're, you know, like the catalyst. Do you use a catalyst? The
No.
catalyst is, so the catalyst is a rubber spatula like this, and it's paints into just, you know,
Huh.
to, you can go all the way. And it's large, so you can do that. This one is good because you can control it better. So
Yeah.
many times I will make lines with this, but look at what's happening here, just from those two colors.
I know it. That's beautiful already.
So I can do anything like this. So they're different sizes, extra large, medium, and small. And I use this a lot. You can see how they're out. But now, because I've done that and we can't wait around until it dries, I'm just gonna go with a cloth and just mix it this way. So again, what is art? Art is improvise, have fun, be yourself, and just create without being afraid, because the moment we're afraid, we are not able to create. You know, many times, sometimes I'm just like, by doing this, it kind of directs me towards something that I want to do, and it might give me an idea.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at it upside down, and it looks like bongos to me. I have a set of bongos. I want to go get my bongos now and play.
Yeah. So there you go. So this is the beginning of something that will be.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put this one aside.
So are those, Nella, are those cold wax? What are those pieces called again?
Well, there is no cold wax here yet. Oh,
Okay.
these. Oh, I'm sorry, these. No, these are just pigment with
wax in them.
There is some wax in it.
And what are those called?
I'm trying. Yeah, they're called art graph. Can you see it?
Art graph, art something, graph, but let me see, art graph. But it doesn't, they just call them art graphs?
Yes.
That works.
Okay, so that's, but you can also use, watercolor sticks. I mean, there is a lot of products, but because I'm working with water-based stuff right now, I haven't used any sort of oil pigment yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna put this away and I'm gonna work on another one. So bear with me.
Absolutely. So we're getting a little bit of everything here. I love it. So now these pieces that you're using for demo, say you want to repurpose them. Like you said, okay, I did this for a demo, but I don't want to do anything else with it. Do you just gesso over it and repurpose it for something else?
Whatever happens when I look at them tomorrow,
Ah,
once it's
okay.
dried. So as I said, I think the one thing that we need to remember is to put aside our fears. And I don't have a
Absolutely.
preconceived idea of what's going to be, so anything will work.
Cool.
This one here was, I was showing this to my granddaughter the other day, how to mix the oils and all that. So I have it, and I'm going to use it for you as well. So this is all oil here.
Nice.
And I was showing her how paint gray worked with a little bit of blue gray. And that was just a little thing that I showed her. But for the sake of using oils right now, let's work on this. And now I'm going to show you how I add the stuff away. See, I feel like a cook. I have a working station on each side. Rather than having food, I have gesso paints. Anyway, let's
Salt,
see.
pepper.
Yeah, spatulas.
That's right.
Hey,
It's like cooking.
and yes. So the first color that I'm going to use is called buff white. And it's one of my favorite whites because, okay, I have some right here. Because it's warm and it really changes the tones. So I'm using this, and then I'm going to be using a little bit of radiant turquoise.
Ah,
And then I'm going to get, this is my cold wax. I buy it by the gallon because I use a lot. So I'm gonna put a little bit right here. So one thing is, this is a board. So on the board, I can put 50% cold wax. Now what is cold wax? Cold wax is the medium that I use in order to achieve more texture.
uh-huh.
It prolongs the oil paint, the pigment, and it gives a different glow. It's more translucent. So I really like to work with
I have
it.
never used cold wax, so I'm really, really interested to see how you do it and what you're using it for. You're going to use it as a medium? You're going to mix it in the paint?
Yes, as a medium.
Ah,
So on the panel, you can use 50% cold wax to 50% pigment because the panel is rigid, so you're not afraid of cracking it. On the canvas, it's a different story because it's flexible. Then you use 25% cold wax and 75% pigment. So those are the only ratios that you need to remember. You
okay.
never want to exceed the amount of cold wax on the canvas. So right here, I have my buff white with the turquoise, and now I put a little bit of wax. So it changes. You can see how it
Yeah.
changes the color. And now that's the best part. I like the how would you call it, that pasty feeling, you know, that just, it's luscious, it just, and when I apply it, it gives me I don't know, it's the textural effect that that produces that really attracts me. Now I get the cold wax and I put it right here. I put a little less this time.
Uh-huh. So how long does cold wax take to dry?
So by tomorrow, this will be tacky.
Okay.
It would actually allow your paint to dry faster.
With the wax in it, really? Oh
With the
yeah,
wax in
oil paints takes a while to dry, huh?
Because you can't really see it, but I'm gonna bring it a little.
Oh yeah, you can really see the texture in there. Nice.
It's
Very nice.
this is what I love, you know. So
So
you can see how the color changed with
yeah,
the buff white
yeah.
and the turquoise. But
So
if I
then
was to use, yes.
I, I know, I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you, but I'm just
No,
like so super interested in there. So that cold wax is not clear, it's not translucent, it's kind of cloudy looking, right?
you mean the final effect would be kind of
The actual cold wax itself is kind of on the
yeah.
cloudy side. So when you mix it with the paint, it actually changes the color of the paint. Yes? Does it?
Um, yeah, it changes it a little bit. Yes, it
Makes it
does.
kind of milky
But
looking?
it doesn't completely
Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
But it really, if I put the cold wax
Uh-huh.
on my hand, I was to put it on the painting, it doesn't change the color.
Okay.
It just makes it because that's what I do.
Oh, okay.
It just doesn't change anything. But when you add it to the pigment, yes, it does affect it some, but it's not completely, because now I'm going to do it without the cold wax, just
Okay.
to show you. So I have the buff white and the turquoise and no cold wax. It's not the viscosity level, it's less, obviously.
Yeah.
So this is without, and now I'm gonna put it right here. See, the color is still basically the same,
Oh, yeah, it is
but
actually.
you can see,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yes, just a cheap
So,
bit. Yeah. Okay. And what about after
so
dry?
think about the same thing.
Yeah. It's pretty close. And
Yes.
now what about sealing it? Do you varnish it after? You just leave it the way it is? Is it
I leave it the way
possible to
it is.
varnish if you want to?
You could, but I do not.
Okay.
What I do is once the painting is really dry, I
Uh-huh.
will apply a coat of cold wax on the dry painting, and I will rub it, and it just gives you this really organic sheen to it
Okay.
without making it too shiny, and I like that. And
Okay.
again, it's not right or wrong, it's whatever you prefer. I've never really varnished my paintings. I've always either left it naturally the way, but for protection, I would probably say the cold wax would be very good.
Cool.
So that's one way. So now rather than using buff white, I'm going to use zinc white.
Oh, okay.
Well, I use titanium just to show you the difference. So this is titanium. It's a little, it's more opaque. But
So tell
let
people
me clean this
the
up.
difference between zinc white and titanium white, what the difference is.
So zinc is more transparent and the titanium is more opaque. So I actually like the transparent colors, and that's probably another reason, because when you add the pigment, it can make any pigment more transparent, because again, the actual ingredient. It just, how can I explain it?
It's
it
looser?
will give you that, yes, yeah, translucent effect. So here I'm using the titanium
Uh-huh.
and the turquoise rather than the buff white. And I'm going to add a little bit of wax. This is just to show you the difference.
Oh, nice. I like it. Nice.
Those three colors and just go, you know, back and forth and add. And now I'm adding it to the buff white, and look what happens. You know, just
Yeah,
highlights it.
nice.
So that. But let's say I want to make some. This is when I use this little tool. So I want to make whatever, some lines. What do I want to do? Just work around. So if I wanted to do an abstract painting, you remember the colors under.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
nothing like this. But more than what I do, it's a series of adding and subtracting until I feel satisfied. It has nothing to do with what's right or wrong. It has to do with me feeling a certain way.
Now you have a lot of layers of color on there. So some of what
Right.
you're doing is scraping away the top layers so that you see the bottom layers. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Nice. Okay.
So, and you can do whatever. So I can scrape the whole thing, which why don't we do it? Because this is just a demo. So let's do that. So let's scrape it all off. And put it back here again. So basically what I did, took now what I do is I use the other ingredient that I use is marble dust. And if you've seen a demo of mine, you would have seen me using this. This is when you're making the pie, you know, you just have to put the flour down so it doesn't stick. So you put it right. It would be good for you to wear a mask when you do this. So you can either go with a palette.
Now does marble dust come in different colors, or it's one color and takes on the color of something you mix it with?
No, well, it's all white, but if you wanted to mix some dry pigments, which you have to be very careful with that too.
Yeah.
And definitely wear a mask and have good ventilation. You could do that. So now why have I done this? Because I want to create more texture. Remember what I told you, I like to create texture. And the marble dust adds the other level, the other dimension to it. And I could actually go back to the paint that we had before, and I will change some. I will change, let me add a little bit of Indian yellow. So it's going to intensify the green.
So Indian yellow you added to the blue and made a green.
I added to the turquoise.
Right. Okay.
to the paint that I took off. So I add to that. So now let's see what happens. Remember, what I'm trying to do, I'm not really making a painting now. I am making, well, for some it could be a painting, but for me, that because I'm playing, I just wanted to create a texture that at the end I will use for a finished painting. So I'm going to put more of that green.
You have a lot of texture there.
Yes, definitely, definitely. There's very little that comes out.
Yeah.
Because it was absorbed by the marble dust.
Yep. So the marble dust is just for texture. It doesn't add any color.
No, it doesn't add any color.
Okay.
But now that I've done that, what do I do? What should I do? I can do it. Let's see. Oil sticks.
Yeah.
So have you ever used oil sticks?
I have, yeah.
So they're fun too.
Yes.
So I like working with oil sticks. The only problem is they don't dry as fast.
They don't.
So that's the only reason that sometimes, especially if I have a commission that I'm working on, then I'm really careful not to I'm just playing, remember, making marks. All the mark making sometimes that will add to that history in the painting.
Uh-huh.
And now what I will do is I'm using some, how do you call this? It's called butcher paper.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So a friend of mine, one of the artists, bought it for me at Costco, and it's 500 pieces in a box. Or you can use parchment paper. So now I put this on. I can go with a little roller. And now I'm making my pastry. And mix it.
Is this going to be a cannoli, Nella? Is this going to be
Yes.
a cannoli? All right, I like it.
Anything. So I like to make marks, you know, with different, and you can do this. It will be, you'll see what happens.
Cool.
Some of the mark making.
Love it.
So I did that. What about if we were to change? See, I was getting organized just like a cook. Right here, I have my little trash bag where I put the. I actually like to cook. And
I do too.
Well, you know, Italian, that Italian side of
I
us.
was just going to say, some of my fondest memories are, you know, my mother would start cooking like 2 weeks ahead of time for the holidays, and the house always smelled good. And yeah, it was very, we focus around the food. Food is family.
I know. The food is, it's you know.
Yeah, it's very, very basic.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, you know, anytime I went back to Italy for a couple of months at a time and I left my husband behind, he would be left with 30 boxes of food in the freezer with, you know, chicken parmigiana, soup, pasta, everything. Okay, so I've done that, but now I'm going to take it off.
And what are you using to take it off? You using that tool? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. This tool is, if you never used it, I will I will get one because it is fun,
Yeah, it is
especially
fun,
the
but
way
I'm
you
not usually.
mixing. And here's another one. They're all messy, but
Mhm.
um, what I'm going to do now on that, I'm going to put a dark color. Let's see if I put anything right here. In dark, I mean paint spray, maybe. Let's see. Just I'll move this around. So
She's definitely having a lot of fun.
I do.
I'm looking at all those paints.
So so the one problem that I have is that my husband is also an artist. So whenever I don't find something, it's because he's taking it from me.
There you go.
So I can blame him.
You can blame him. It's always good to have someone. I always say I never take the blame for anything. You did it. I did. They did it.
I know, I know. So I can't find my paint spray. We must have used it. But I'm going to change this. I'm going to change it around. I'll put some of this color. This is a color that I like, a paint that I like. It's blue gray. It's very creamy. It's inexpensive. And I use this Georgian. It's made in England. I use the blue gray and also the buff white. Those are the two that I use from this brand. Then the rest is gambling for oil paints.
For
So
oil.
this one,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put it right here, right on the board.
The board.
So
Okay,
I'm
so
working a little
those oil paints, you're not mixing medium with them. You're just
No,
putting them right on that canvas.
yeah.
They must take forever to dry.
Well, I have good ventilation in here, but yeah, it's
Takes
at
a
least
while.
before I can apply a second coat many times, it would be at least a couple of days. And then to make it really dry, of course, it's going to take at least a month.
Sure.
So this time I've done a little different. So I put it right here with cold wax. Rather than putting it on the palette, I'm going to mix it right here together. So why do I do that? Because I am playing.
I was just going to say, because you wanna. That's what the kids say.
Right.
I say, now, why are you doing that? Because I wanna. I say, okay, that's a good reason.
Yeah, that is a good reason.
Yeah.
And because it feels good.
Yes. Feels right.
And I actually like the simplicity of color.
Nice.
Sometimes I don't know, it gives me this, I can develop in whatever I want. I can develop in abstract.
You're frosting the cake.
I'm frosting it, and then I take the frosting off. And
Yeah.
then and then I like to change it again.
Yes.
But you can see why I have to work on several paintings at the same time.
Absolutely. I have been known to.
Yeah. It's who we are, and it's a reflection of our personality. And I have a lot of faults in life. The biggest one is I don't like to put the caps on my tube.
That is a problem.
Oh dear God. So what I developed is I bought a bunch of screws, large screws, and I put them on top.
Let me see. Hold it closer to the camera. What are you doing for that?
I don't have one on this, but I'm going to get one.
I want to see how the screw is doing that, because sometimes I lose the caps also.
Okay, so this is one. It's it made of plastic,
Uh-huh.
and then I take it off. So I put it back in
Huh.
again.
Well, I'll be dipped. I like that. That's a great idea.
And
And
that's one way I can safeguard the paintings. But
yeah,
you can use anything, nails with a large head,
yeah.
so they pierce all the way down and it
Uh-huh.
just clean.
I
So
never even thought of that. Never even thought of it. I put tin foil around them. I put them in plastic bags. Never thought
me
to
too.
do that. I
So
may
one
do
day
it.
I was again, going to Home Depot or Lowe's. I was walking around and I saw this. I needed to buy some screws for a canvas that I was stretching, some nails. I'm sorry, and I said, the head is so big. Why don't I use this? And it
For a
just,
cap.
yeah. So
I love it.
those are my caps.
So you're a genius, Nella.
See, we
See?
are all genius. We're all genius.
All geniuses. That's it.
So one color that um, this is ultramarine blue,
Nice.
and from Gamblin. And I like this when I add it
Very nice.
to other blues, but I like it when I also add it to my radiant magenta. So this one, I need to open it up. And it will make these beautiful purples.
Yep. Now, when someone tells you they want to commission you to do a piece,
Yep.
and they know that you're not going to do anything really realistic looking, it's going to have a lot of texture, blah, blah. How do you know what they want? Like people say to me, I want a picture of my kids, or they say I want a picture of the ocean.
Well, if it's a painting of the, I've done it before. But
Say it again. We
to
lost
me, I
the
have to know
audio.
the person very well.
Uh-huh.
If you
Oh,
ask me to do a portrait of the children, I will not do it, because
yeah,
for me, I need to know the child well in
right.
order to be able to gain that personality in the painting. I did it before a long time ago.
Sure.
In the last two commissions that I had, the people already knew what they wanted. They wanted something that is marine inspired with a lot of texture. They went on my website and they said, these are the paintings we like. Anything that you can do that
Okay.
sort of gives you the same feeling.
All right. Well,
Um,
that actually helps because I'm thinking for someone who's very non-traditional and just is kind of going by the seat of our pants, how does someone commission you and say, hey, how do I do this, that? But you're right. If they're looking on your website and they like what you have here, they say, yeah, I want something like that. Okay, now I get it.
yeah, so at least you have something to work with.
Yes, right.
And for the most part, I shy away from commissions.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
So because I want to be completely free.
right.
But in this particular instance, they wanted to have something so big that I said, oh, I love to work on large pieces.
Large pieces. Yes.
So that's freedom to me. And I accepted.
Yeah.
And it's been a lot of fun working
Yes, yes. Someone
on this.
commissioned me, two authors commissioned me to do a book cover one time, which I did do. And I mean, it was a worthwhile experience. I'm glad I did it, but I never did another one after that. It was very they have one thing in their mind, you might have something else. And like you said, the freedom is not there. So, what you're doing is a lot more enjoyable, certainly.
It's my feeling is I work a lot,
Yeah.
and so there is something for everyone.
Yes.
And what I like to do is I want people to realize that when I do, it's all me, you know, it's definitely, it's reflecting me, but
Yeah, yeah.
during a bad period, I might be apt to work with a different color, a darker color, because I'm upset or depressed, or I'm going through grief, or, you know, so I'm affected by what's happening around me.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you have to be careful at that point, and you just be truthful with people.
Right.
And, you know, I'm going to show this one just to show. So what I added was that blue gray,
Yeah.
and then the ultramarine marine blue with the radiant magenta.
Nice.
And,
Nice.
and then when I start scraping, I can show some of those colors that were underneath.
Underneath. Yeah, that's great.
So in a case like this, because I like the contrast, it's within the same family,
Yes. Right. Yep.
but I like that contrast and I like what's underneath.
Hmm.
I might just keep it like this until it dries,
Yep.
and then I will go back to it
And it will inspire you. Like I look at
and
that
do.
and it looks like a bunch of sails, boats, a bunch of boats in the water to me. But
Right.
I guess it changes from person to
Yeah,
person, certainly. And so and I also noticed that
exactly. So
if I put a piece aside and continue to look at it, day by day, it does change. The picture changes, the meaning changes. So absolutely.
and I think it's extremely important
Yes, yes.
to paint, put it aside, and let that painting grow with you,
Mhm.
because sometimes I finish working in the afternoon and I really like the painting and
Yes,
I feel like it's finished.
yes.
Then I go back in the morning and I say,
Oh, it's
oh,
not that finished.
and vice versa.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes I would hate a certain painting. I go back in the morning and I say, no, I really like this. So you have to allow yourself time for the painting to season, to just
absolutely, absolutely.
absorb those, and then go back to it if you want to, or not go back to it. But this one that I want to show you a painting that I finished that is going to the gallery.
Okay,
And
cool.
let me take this
Take it well.
off. Yeah, otherwise I'll mess it up.
No messing up the picture.
I know. This is one
Oh, there.
done with the same idea as that one.
Yeah. Oh, very nice.
It's abstract, obviously,
Hmm.
but it gives you a certain feeling of the ocean, maybe.
It does. That's exactly what it does.
So,
Absolutely.
you know,
Beautiful,
so
beautiful,
this is
beautiful.
smaller. It's going to the gallery. But yeah, actually, this is all dry.
I absolutely love that. Like I said, to me, they look like my bongos. That's it. I love it.
That's all dry.
That's
And,
great.
and it does. So let me say this. If this painting, here, this painting had the texture under,
Uh-huh.
it could have been big. It is, it gives me a certain feeling
Yes,
in any position, in any direction that I go,
yes.
there is something.
Uh-huh.
So, and it was just gestures,
Right.
wasn't anything else. So it was very spontaneous,
Hmm.
gestural, immediate,
And
and you
very
can
true.
actually work
Absolutely. Yeah, that one definitely.
gallery or the museum. And,
Nice.
and you say, I've done that before, but why didn't I have enough courage to show it?
I think
And
especially with students, that's the case. They're afraid. And so they'll do something and they'll say, well, I wanted to try this or do that, but then I was afraid I was going to ruin my picture. So you're right. I think fear is one of the biggest handicaps, especially for a student.
yeah, it's very detrimental to our
Yeah.
growth, you know?
Yes, yes.
So, this is exactly what I say to be honest, just that the number one thing that you need to do is put away the fear.
Yeah,
And there are different things that you
lovely.
can do,
Sure.
but it's working every single day.
Uh-huh.
And just keep working. Just don't make any excuses
And
and
that
have a
one,
clear idea.
I have to tell you, from this vantage point, it looks like a cave opening with trees around it and all kinds of cool stuff. That's awesome.
Yes, it does. Oh my gosh, you know something? I see actually an olive tree.
Nice. Nice.
The the
Yep. Yep.
whoa,
Absolutely.
I
Very
just
nice.
saw that.
See that? The more we
That's
look at it. Well,
yeah.
let us,
So I'm gonna.
I was going to say, let us see your face, young lady.
You want to see
We
my
want to see your
face?
face. And we want to know if people want to get a hold of you, if they want to know more about you, how can they do that?
Well, they can email me at nella.lush@gmail.com.
Right?
They can go on my website, nellalush.com. They can go on Instagram or Facebook just with my name and they can find me.
Yep.
I started an experimental art group at the Rockport Art Association.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit because I saw it in your bio and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is that?
So it started a few years ago was my contribution to the Art Association Rockport.
Nice.
Rockport has always been known for the kind of art that in Cape Ann, and but I always felt there wasn't enough of modern art and experimental art. So when I was juried many years ago, I'll probably say about, I don't know, 20 years ago or so, um, then I was elected on the board about 6 or 7 years ago. I came with the idea, and it was really well accepted.
Nice.
And within a year, we started. We sent the email out, and now we have 140 artists.
Wow, that's great.
And
That's
what
great.
it is again, a it's a group where we meet once a month without, when we don't have COVID. And now it's all Zoom.
Yeah,
So we do Zoom meetings. Um, and it's just to bring forth the awareness that all art matters.
good.
And art is important for society. It's important for ourselves. It's therapy. It's
Very much
beauty,
so.
and it's a gift that we all have. And even if you're not an artist, just owe it to yourself to try it, because there is no such a thing that I can't do that.
That's
You
right.
just,
I agree. Totally.
so, I'm a very positive person.
You
Uh,
are.
there is no ugly art. There is no, everything is an expression of who you are, so.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us today, my darling. And we wish you lots more happy paintings ahead.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
you are very welcome.
And best wishes for the holidays too.
Absolutely. And I'm going to add my best wishes also. And from the Greater Havel Arts Association, we wish everyone, yeah, an artful day.
Thank you.